Like give me yet, you wanna tell me not yet. Shoot.
Oh fuck that. Hey, that I know, man.
Pioneer and I want it up.
Let that go up on the zelly. You must say pull up.
Finger trigger, me make it.
That is it.
Okay. Funds in a stop and drooping every second is a plus.
Yeah. Jerry, check it.
Everything else along with the bus.
Well, alright.
In a sky, me they really fine. Change up, me change it up and me raise the bar. Don't put in the them, they come in a school in lar. Me raise the bar, me raise the bar. Hey, we glad to what I SLR. Some a celebrity, but we a superstar. Rock Safi, what's up, and I'm in a school in lar. We raise the bar, we raise the bar. Hey, no need to prove and then live in proof. Me this one get fight and the flipping truth. My map the floor where them I dominate, coming never lose. Like 49 I was to less out the mood. Me need to have my way, just on a brother scale. Ball fighting we go through and never left a trail. Y'all give me heads, you wanna tell me not to shoot in a every state. Got me a chicken and flesh from them violate. I mean say better that me say. They on vacation and running from every day. Man of that high respect, no funny way. Only give from when man of just see that. Tell them no play with me. What we say? In a sky me they really fine. I change up my chin it up and my raise the bar. Lone foot and them they come in coming now. The bros all kind of superstar type superstar. Glad to what I SLR. Some are celebrity but we are superstar. Say what's up with them in us coming now. Listen, we raise the bar. Superstar. Hey, now go have a long time thing you will it. Shabba man do the worm gun check us it. You have no little DJ boy must have something burger. Blood car must get that is it. All sing to us and to them do. Now I'm not finna pay a part for it for the throne. Most of them we are trying to compete and have to stop saying fuck you see the reason is that we can't fall off. Come on over here to the top.
God damn it, bro. Vendetta go up with a 20. Say pull that again.
Pioneer and I want it up. Respect out the Lord and I must.
Vendetta go up. Ball game time. Fire flame.
Funds in a stop and troop. Every second is a plus.
Yo. Vendetta go up.
Everything else
I will say MVP.
In a sky me they really fine. Change up, me change it up and me raise the bar. Lone foot in and them they come in a school in lar. Me raise the bar. Hey, we black out the SLR. Some a celebrity but we a superstar. Rock Safi was up and them in a school in lar. We raise the bar.
Vendetta go up. No need to prove I'm not living proof. But this will get fight to the flipping truth. My mark your floor where them I dominate, coming never lose. Like 49 I was to run for the mood. But me not have my way. Just find a brother state. Ball fight now we go through and never left a trail. Y'all give me heads, you wanna tell me not till shoot in every state. Me brought me rat chicken and flesh from them violate. DJ dirty better that me say. They on vacation and running from every day. Man of that high respect, no funny way. Only game from when honor just a see them. Yo, Bill, what?
In a sky me they really fine. I change up my chin it up and me raise the bar. Lone foot in and them they come in a school in lar. We raise the bar.
Miranda.
We're glad to what I SLR. Some a celebrity but we a superstar. Rock Safi was up and down in us coming now. We raise the bar.
Listen.
Now we love a long time thing that we listen. You have no little DJ
boy that blood clot.
That is it. I've already seen you over some bullet to the bone. Now we're going to be for it for the throne. Most of them we are trying to compete and have to stop sell out. Show them big, then you have to sign a
Why? No look cloud. No see the reason means that we can fall off. Come on all the way to the top. Rocking the man. You don't know how which fire.
You know the sky with the real fire. She ain't got me chin it up on my raise the bar. One foot in and then they come in us coming now. We raise the bar. Hey, we're glad to what I SLR. Some a celebrity but we a superstar. Rock Safi was up and down in us coming now.
We raise the bar, we raise the bar. Alright, better that me say.
They on vacation and running from every day.
Man of that high respect, no funny way.
Only game from when honor just a see them.
Tell it out people like that.
Better that me say. They on vacation and running from every day. Man of that high respect, no funny way. Only game from when honor just a see them. Tell them no play with me.
Slide. Alright. I feel like say my brain balance back again. No! Shit! Got the professor mad just now, yeah. Man, them nearly take a pussy clot.
Achoo.
Mad thing.
Hey, but stop read comment after this, you know that. Tell the tea that you know, as a matter of rascal fact, you know that.
Global one local.
As a matter of fact, dog.
More money and more gas.
As a matter of fact, dog.
Antisocial.
Yo.
Work maximize the total.
Okay.
Global.
Get it on.
More money and more gas.
What there? Yeah, me. Fully data outside, matter of fact.
When the rope is like a nags on the cap. Money I gonna let gap. Then I do nothing, no man, I tell me crap. Them spimes on a jump it we a start.
But as a matter of fact,
I feel like seven driver relax. I show for that thing at the black cat I like. It was a matter of fact. We put the cleaning and clean.
Listen lyrics, dog. Listen lyrics.
It was a matter of fact. You feel like that. Listen to surprise that. James really that Jula and jerky plus the hands for that. We really did that. We need to follow the shop. Follow on myself.
People check it.
Antisocial.
We're live.
What maximize it?
Vendetta. Global. Yeah.
More money and more gas.
Auntie. Hey. What one? As a matter of fact,
I do work some way I must show you that. When the rope is like a nags on the cap.
Alive.
Wrong left a gap. Then I do nothing, no man, I tell me crap. Them times and I drop it we a start.
but as a matter of fact,
But they don't feel like seven drive. I relax. I show for that thing at the black cat I like.
but as a matter of fact,
We put the cleaning and clean girl in my
hey,
flat.
Natty, why pray?
Them a live in the
Listen.
Was a matter of fact. You don't feel like that. Listen to surprise that. James really need a Jula AR jerky place. We really did that. Do it. We need to fall for the
What a one?
Follow on, I'm a sell attack home. You can take on the road. But a verbal and this is so like say this side your issues like.
Why?
Wanna go pick me playground cause I'm not gonna make nothing slide.
Why?
We switch up now that's like but take my out now that's right.
Shut up.
Also go to that them in your road and we have baptized. News up to me we stay real like a guarantee. And I make no new links forward run and make you start with your G. I think know your family, know your people and know your enemy.
What else?
And I Simon believe me can't go over through me. Hey, there's no mash up over no.
I don't know where come here.
If I talk me here and make it neither here nor there. Make this clear. Global one local.
Let's make this motherfucking clear.
More money and more gas.
Global LPT.
Antisocial.
Yo, Global, you know none of them $2 pull up there again, right? Yeah.
Global.
Pick up yourself for the 2 still, you know.
Money and more gas.
It's standards though, you see.
Yeah, me.
Alright then,
As a matter of fact, I don't rest the way I mash with the dad. When the rope is like a nags on the cap. Money I gonna let a gap. Then I do nothing, no man, I tell me crap. Them spimes and I drop it.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
April 16, 2026 at 4 p.m., a team of LA police officers and U.S. Marshals surrounded a home in the Hollywood Hills. Long guns pointed and with no hesitation in sight, they used a ramming device to bust open the door. And inside they found 21-year-old David Anthony Burke, better known to the world as David. Just a few months earlier, a foul odor was permeating from the trunk of David's Tesla, disturbing the Hollywood neighborhood so bad they had it towed away. And it was in this tow yard that when they opened the car, they found the decomposing remains of a young girl, eventually identified to be 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And the moment people found out, they started digging and realized that this girl was always around David. So much so that it was clear they were in some kind of inappropriate relationship. But even after the internet exposed mountains of evidence that David was in fact engaging with a minor and was almost definitely the one to end her life, 7 whole months still went by with no arrest. In fact, he wasn't even named as a suspect. It was confusing, maddening, causing some people to wonder if he might actually get away. But the other day, all of that changed. And once the LAPD arrived at David's house and he was immediately arrested and thrown into the station, the prosecutors alleged that not only are they sure he did it, but they also have over 40 terabytes of evidence. And when you hear what they're charging him with, your jaw will drop. The charges against David are lying in wait, murder for financial gain, and murder murder of a witness to a crime. And although these charges may not sound like they make sense, they will once you learn the full extent of what David actually did. Because due to the insanity of everything, they are pursuing the possibility of the death penalty. The first death penalty case ever in Los Angeles since 2006.
A vicious stabbing, a grisly alleged dismemberment with a chainsaw.
So that raises the question, what did David actually do? Well, to understand this, we have to take it back to the beginning of this tragedy, the place where many children meet their predators, an online video game. Despite the fact that David grew up in a household so religious that he was not allowed to listen to anything but gospel music until age 13, and despite the fact that his father literally worked alongside the legal system, that would not stop him from being exposed to the internet, where he would find a game called Fortnite, a game where kids can meet and play with other kids. And that was exactly what he did. But as he grew older, something would happen. After 7th grade, his parents would decide that the school system was not for their son and pull him out entirely to be homeschooled for the rest of his years. And just like that, real life social exposure was gone. His world now became the internet. And if he never downloaded Fortnite onto his computer, none of this would have ever happened. As David would continue to play the game more seriously, he would become affiliated with a team called Chronic, a group that still has a YouTube channel to this day. And it's alleged that within this circle of people is where David would come across for the first time a girl who would go by the name of Celeste. That's right, he knew her before he was famous. A user who claimed to be on the team said that they would always play together and everybody saw and would even make jokes about it. However, since video games typically don't involve personal data, it's doubtful that anyone actually knew her exact age. But David was a different story, and even after finding out how old this girl was, he still continued to get closer to her, until one day he decided to make his big move. He would ask her if she would download an app called Discord so that they could talk off game. And because they were cool, she downloaded the app. The Discord chats between David and Celeste Rivas go all the way back to January of 2022. At that point, she was 11 years old. It was also around this time that David would turn 17 and would begin developing an interest in becoming a social media influencer and growing a fan base. So he made a YouTube channel and started posting Fortnite montages. But the songs he was using kept getting him copyright strikes. So instead, his mom suggested, why don't you just make your own music? And once he started, he realized he was actually pretty good at it. He decided he would need an artist name, and that's how D4VD was born. A good while after he allegedly met Celeste, he would upload his first ever track to his SoundCloud page called Runaway, a song that was coincidentally about trying to get someone you love to come live with you and feeling abandoned when they don't reciprocate. And as much as that kind of sounds like the Celeste situation because of the distance between them, nothing could be crazier than the song he would release just 2 months later called Decide, where he said, and I quote, "Save your tears, 7 years." At this point, Celeste would have been 11 years old, meaning that she would turn 18 in 7 years. But perhaps most damningly of all, another one of his early songs would say, "I look into your eyes and I can see right through your lies. I think we both know who dies here." We may not have understood it at the time, but from the very start of his career, every single song was talking about her. Celeste came long before David's fame. In fact, you could even say that she was the reason it happened. Now, despite making all these songs inspired by
Big dreams start small. At GoDaddy, we help you take that.
Celeste that people thought sounded really good, he didn't actually blow up instantly. And for the next 6 months, the first half of 2022, he grinded. But once he started learning the TikTok algorithm a bit more, everything changed. And it was in July of 2022 that he would release a song called Romantic Homicide, a title that we did not know at the time was his fantasy. The snippet went immediately viral on TikTok, and it just kept going, so much so that it would reach number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100. A Fortnite kid who recorded this song on Apple earbuds in the closet. Within months, he was signed to Interscope Records and becoming a major artist. A big label signed him without knowing that he was singing his fantasies about this underage girl. They even gave him a big budget to drop the Romantic Homicide music video, and he took their money and convinced them to let him drop it on September 7th, the very day that Celeste would turn 12 years old. Keep in mind that David was just months away from turning 18, and it was in this moment that he would convince a billion-dollar industry that he was a decent guy. And neither them nor us had any idea of the developing monster they had just brought into their ranks. But even the sneakiest of monsters leave behind their tracks. As David's fame grew, as a chronically online professional Discord user, he would eventually create a server. Of course, it contained many of his fans and was supposed to be a positive experience for them. But somewhere along the line, there was a strange pattern that some people began to notice. You see, by October 2022, Celeste was a known presence in the server, with everyone knowing that she was specifically associated with David. They would talk in public chat, saying things like, "Celeste in here? Hi David, bark." Like I said, she was 12, and while people's ages aren't exactly public for the entire server to see, it became weird when apparently she was not the only one. A user named James Buttergun even made a comment that said David only adds underage girls to the server. And while that may have sounded like a joke at the time, someone else even described a situation where they and a friend tried to get David to follow them back, but he would not pay them any attention. But when one of their friends made a catfish account posing as a teenage girl, David followed it with no hesitation. But while there were some hints of predatory behavior that were a bit suspicious, still, it wasn't anything concrete to go off. And to be
And this is why, and this is exactly why I said to myself, so you see that little girl that did just ear, bro? You see that little girl that did just ear, dog? She that's still there, you know? But you see when you look up front that drum for man, yo, Jaja.
fair, the people investigating this quote-unquote were a bunch of teenagers themselves. So they probably didn't even understand the gravity of the situation. But that did not stop David from snitching on himself every chance he got and letting people know he was just a weird guy. In his server full of young fans, he would talk about things like how he used to be addicted to watching gore videos, saying that he liked them more than literal adult content, talking about how the insane website Live was bookmarked on his computer and he would watch cartel executions and other stuff like that to the point where he didn't even cringe anymore. But the most damning part of it all was when he said, "I like writing gory psychological drama, romantic quotes, and lots of death. I love gore. Gore is better than adult videos." He openly said that he loves a mix of gore and romance, and I guess it shouldn't be a surprise considering the themes of his music, but everyone just heard this and once again thought it was just fictional preferences. And yeah, you might think that's dumb, but to be fair, a lot of people like true crime. You're literally watching it right now.
Yeah, listen, I love true crime. I love my good Manting, Wagwan baby. Welcome. I was just over on Nick's live, but you don't know him going with himself over there. I don't know where I do a thing over your son thing, so welcome baby, welcome. Just go and react to some videos and stuff, and you know, give a personal opinion on it. With that little girl with the brother Ray. Heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking, I'm not gonna lie, but oh my god. Listen, I love a good true crime story. I grew up watching Monk, Law and Order, Without a Trace. My mother used to love watch Element. You know, so them love put whole heap of Fatal Attraction something in them to me. Me genuinely love what the next one name? Dead Zone. All of them from the early 2000s, right? But not because I watch them, love watching them. That means that me I gotta actually do it or participate in anything what me I gotta do. They are be like giant. They are going with themselves. Puff pass, motherfucker. Puff pass, motherfucker. No, I'm joking. I don't smoke. I don't smoke. I don't drink. It like bad. And overall, it's to me, I find it not really healthy. But you know, better weed than cigarette. I always say. But I don't smoke and I don't drink. So kudos to you, Papa. Sometimes you know, you have like a stress for you want to settle your brain. So angry about it. But just don't overdo it though. But yeah, like Me love my fair share of true crime and horror movie. I love horror movies. But me not go do it. Me know the difference between fiction and non-fiction. Like that's just a movie or that's just a book. Me not go do it. Go out there and do something to somebody. You crazy? That's weird.
That you're a weirdo. The thing about David, though, that made him an exception, apart from how excessive his obsession was the specific fixation between romance and death. And the weirdest part about it was no, we knew that he had somebody in his life. So wouldn't it make sense that he would turn this fixation toward her? Well, not exactly. People knew that Celeste existed, but nobody actually knew at this point if they were dating or not. It was actually other things that made people think that David had someone special in his life. Like a tweet that would surface from his account saying, "When I was writing this, I got a notification from you as you were talking about wanting to be with your mom and sister again. Take me where I belong, but your circumstances won't allow us to be in our ideal situations. We gotta push through it." But once again, nobody could have guessed that the circumstances was about the fact that she was literally a child. However,
this is Grammarly's AI
Oh
writing.
my God!
You're writing from start to finish,
Yo, me eat that fucking
all in one place.
that curtain would soon be
But
revealed
definitely,
and
I
all
follow
would
that
change.
back
As
YouTube
2023
premium,
progressed and
honestly.
David became more famous, something shifted. The relationship between David and Celeste stopped being a vague rumor floating around the server and started becoming something that people could actually see. That year in September, a full year after the bark message in the Discord, David would do a live stream and a young girl could be seen visibly in the background. That was Celeste. And a user by the name of Lamp would screenshot the live and send it in the Discord asking him, "Hey David, who's the girl?" David's response was to tell him, "You are a Fed." Now, I don't know about you, but if that was my girl, I would have no reason to call someone a Fed for asking about
Exactly.
her. And so based on his reply, we can probably assume that Lamp was one of the few people that knew about Celeste being 12. And it's clear that David knew this because he would then privately threaten Lamp saying, "Wallahi, he's finished. I know what he leaked already. We're literally preparing to sue him. Lamp is about to owe $30,000. Legal team going bonkers right now." But despite people saying things like this, evidently David was not scared enough because he would grow tired of using simple references to talk about her in his songs. He wanted to call her by name, and that is exactly what he did when an unreleased file called Celeste Demo on Fin would surface. Nearly 4 minutes of him singing, "Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. I smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed. But most damningly of all, oh Celeste, afraid you'll only love me when undressed." Once again, he's speaking about somebody who hasn't even turned a teenager yet, while he was just a few months away from turning 19. But of course, this was September, and that meant Celeste's birthday was coming up. And on September 7, she would turn 13 years old. And so to celebrate this, David would release an animated music video for the song Rehab. A video that includes a lot of bloody imagery, but is centered around the love between David's anime character form and a female love interest. However, things take a turn when the female love interest ends up being completely butchered and literally cut into pieces by David's character. Once again, everybody thought it was just imagery and nobody went any deeper. But like I said, even the sneakiest of monsters leave tracks, and David apparently wasn't even trying to conceal them. After all, why stop at one kid when the world is full of vulnerable victims? It was around this time that a Discord user named Ponzalo wrote, "David took my little sister's friend to LA. Did y'all know David likes kids?" And several more pieces of evidence would come forward about him DMing girls under the appropriate age. In fact, he eventually got so comfortable in this situation, thinking he was safe, that in January of 2024, he would go live on Twitch with Celeste. The two of them, fully in public, faces showing and talking with the audience. And at first, it was just a guy and his girlfriend on stream. But things took a turn when the few fans who knew about her age started commenting, with someone saying, "Oh nah, you're going on the Epstein list." And due to this, Celeste would actually make a certain joke on stream that would make David very uncomfortable and cause him to delete everything.
Is your media
I
trained?
personally don't.
Yo, I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids. Oh my
Oh my, delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
No, some people claim that she wasn't actually talking about David in this clip and that they were talking about just what the chat was saying in general. But the fact that it made him as uncomfortable as it did, knowing what he literally was doing behind the scenes, was very telling. And this stream would be very important because it officially introduced her to his very large fan base. But it would also assist in his downfall because when your fan base is that big, you're bound to have people everywhere, even in the same hometown as your under victim. A few more months had passed, and in early 2024, something happened that would change everything. Celeste's aunt would post on Facebook, "Celeste Hernandez is my niece. She's missing this morning and didn't get to her classes in Lake Elsinore, California. She is 13 years old." Her mother also posted separately asking for help. Other family members joined in. Celeste had disappeared and nobody knew what happened to her. And so the search went on for days. After all, when a young girl goes missing in this society, it's anyone's guess as to what could have happened. But then about 5 days later, the post would miraculously change. As a family member would say, "Thank God, our prayers have been answered. She came back home last night." And just like that, the anxiety passed. Celeste went missing, but that was just because she ran away. But maybe it should have been given a bit more thought to where she ran away to. Because at this point, David was frequently posting about a quote-unquote Hello Kitty girl. And while that scenario might have just been a girl sneaking out to go spend some time with a guy, 2 months later, things would take a turn worse than anyone in her family or on this earth itself could have imagined. On April 5th, 2024, Celeste Rivas Hernandez was reported missing for the second time, last seen wearing Hello Kitty sandals. And this time, days would pass and she did not come back. Her brother would later confirm that she said she was going to see a movie with David, and after that,
yeah, you know, some have to get a premium, yeah.
they never saw her again. It should be noted at this point that many people believe her family definitely knew about her and David's relationship, but for whatever reason did not or could not stop it. But regardless, they knew that she went somewhere with a specific person and she vanished. Now, like I said, she had gone missing before, and it was always to spend a few days with David, but this time seemed like it was long term, almost as if she was gonna be with him full time, and that seems to be exactly what happened. They were even reportedly seen in a jewelry store the same month Celeste went missing, where an employee says he remembers the day that they both walked into his shop together. The employee said that standing next to David, Celeste was extremely intoxicated and, quote, noticeably younger than him and barely able to hold herself together.
She was very high and she was with David, who I recognize because he's a popular singer.
He says the moment the picture went public, he recognized her immediately. A young man with money, a young girl under his influence, and enough social connections and financial access to live off the grid as if rules don't apply. He could pay for everything, fund her life, and all she had to do was stay by his side. He made her feel safe, like they could do anything if they were together. But people like this are never giving something for nothing, and they believe that since you owe them their livelihood, they are under your control indefinitely. As David was the type of guy to frequently post things like, "Me after hearing about her past with other boys," accompanied by an image of a man holding a nail gun to a woman's head, or him chopping up meat, saying, "Me if I ever see her talk to other dudes." Things that, yeah, people probably repost as a joke, but combined with his background, you couldn't help but wonder if there was something deeper. And so time would pass and he would engage with her in all of the most disgusting ways. But the weirdest part is, it would then come out that apparently her family actually did find her, almost as if she was never really gone. Yes, she was still with David most of the time, but apparently she attended family events and would stop by every now and again. So some people actually believe, and this is alleged, this is not proven, that the family was probably collecting some kind of compensation, while David would continue to have this girl by his side so that he could take advantage of all the imbalances and fuel his pathetic obsession day by day. But obsession and love are not the same thing, because one is considering the other person above all, while the other is inherently selfish and turns the other person into nothing but an
and that is exactly why some persons are saying that her family was taking money from this guy, knowing say him is a singer and you know him famous and thing. Them did take money from him if he just keep it on the hush hush. Like basically them a pimp out them daughter to the brother here cause oh my god. Oh my gosh.
object for you to desire. And one day, these sick, twisted feelings would take David too far. Because something would happen between David and Celeste. And that day, one of the worst acts that would ever be committed in the music industry would tragically take place. Over a full year would pass since Celeste initially went missing. And on a random day in August of 2025, there was a Model Y Tesla that had been sitting on the streets of the Hollywood Hills for what neighbors estimated was more than a month. Nobody knew whose car it was, and nobody had reported it stolen. But all we knew was that it was sitting there for so long that on August 27, a parking enforcement officer marked the tires. But still, nobody came to claim the car. A week later, they would upgrade that into a parking violation. But still, nobody came to claim the car. So they said, screw it. If nobody wants this, we're taking it. And so the trucks came and it was towed to Hollywood Tow in Los Angeles. But after the car was brought to the tow yard, it was a few days later that the workers noticed something disgusting. It was a smell. One that maybe they thought was just somebody maybe stepping in something bad or perhaps roadkill on the wheels of a car. But those smells get better with time. This got worse every day. And eventually it got bad enough that people there started to maybe get some ideas, and so they decided to call the police. Upon arrival, officers would open the trunk to a sight that no amount of police training could prepare you for. In the car, there were 2 plastic bags laying down, and inside contained the decomposing, dismembered remains of a girl. Remains so far gone that nobody could even tell who it was. And just taking one look made them know something disturbing. That body was not new. It had been there for months. They were probably sick on sight, and as they called for more officers, this case immediately went from a bad smell in a tow yard to one of the most diabolical homicides of the year. But guess what? It's not like a random body was found on the side of the road. This was in a car with a license plate and documentation. Things that will literally tell you who the owner is. And so when they ran the plates, the person that came up was none other than a 21-year-old David Anthony Burke.
A body was found inside a car at a Hollywood tow lot today. The 2023 Tesla is registered to multi-platinum artist and musician David Anthony Burke.
The moment the story broke that night, the internet reacted in the way that it always does, and it blew up instantly. The name David was everywhere within hours. However, the initial reaction might not actually be what you...
If your workflow looks like 12 open tabs and 3 subscriptions, stop. This is
expected. Because here's the thing, when this came out, David was on tour, and he had been on tour for a while, traveling across the entire country. So to many people, it physically did not make sense that he had anything to do with the random body back in LA. I mean, he literally wasn't there. They were watching him perform in front of their faces. But even though he had been traveling for a while, there was another camp of people saying, yo, listen, this guy had a Tesla, and Teslas are basically impossible to break into. So if anything was found in that car, you better believe that he, or at least somebody who he knew, had something to do with it. Regardless of any speculations though, we had pretty much no information to work with. And David's team would release a statement where his spokesperson told NBC News he had been informed about what's happened. And although he was still on tour, he is fully cooperating with the authorities. And so to many people, that was the end of the conversation. It was clearly a misunderstanding. He's cooperating. He's been on tour. He obviously didn't do anything. And plus, who in their right mind would even just leave a body in a car anyway and then just go on tour as if nothing happened? It seemed almost too stupid to be true. However, keep in mind that the important part of that question is, who in their right mind? We had no idea that David wasn't. And almost as if nothing had happened, this man literally continued to tour every single day, singing to a crowd full of people who wondered, what the hell is this guy currently being accused of? However, he could only keep up the facade for so long, because it was just a few days later that the nails in David's coffin would be dug deeper than anyone could help him with. It was September 16, 2025 that everything changed in the most unimaginable way. The LA County Medical Examiner had officially identified the body.
The body found inside the trunk of an abandoned Tesla registered to the singer David has been identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas.
The girl in the trunk was named Celeste Rivas Hernandez, aged 14, from Lake Elsinore, California, and reported missing in April of 2024. Last seen with a boy named David. The moment her name became public, the internet stopped arguing about whether or not he was involved. Because that was when everybody stopped and said, wait, isn't that the girl who... And as they went back through their memory of everything that happened over the past 4 years, pieces started to connect. Keep in mind, despite us covering everything in this video, nobody ever actually fully knew much about her. But a few people had Discord chats, a few people had Instagram posts, screenshots, live stream clips, and subtle appearances. They found pictures of them together, using his tattoos to show that it was really him, like the one that says shh on his finger. And once different people started putting all of these small bits of information together, a much larger puzzle started to form that blew everyone's mind the more that it revealed. But still, some people were skeptical. After all, this was just a bunch of Discord messages. But it was around this time that somebody would find the missing persons report that was filed by Celeste's mother over a year ago, where she said that her daughter disappeared and happened to have a boyfriend who was named David, and that they also apparently had matching tattoos. Now, obviously, when this report was made, nobody would have known that it was that David that she was referring to. But once the medical examiner's report came back, it was reported that there was in fact a tattoo found on the body of the young girl. On her right index finger that said, shh, the exact same tattoo that could be found on the finger of the artist David. And the moment this was revealed, the conversation shifted from confusion into whole...
No, that tattoo, you understand why them get that tattoo. Out of all of the tattoo them in the world where you could have get, them get shh. Obviously, because you know say I do something wrong, you make sure you get shh to keep it a secret. That's fucked up. That's just thinking about it literally make me feel disgusted, because you as a big boy, you as a big man, you couldn't find somebody your age, bro. Why you have to go for that little girl here? She's 11. She is 11. You have your money, you want artists, you could have get any bad bitch where you want. You go for a little girl. Yo, that's crazy.
Holy shit. This guy actually did it. And to make matters worse, there was another tattoo that Celeste had on a different finger that read Dave. A finger that was among the ones that the autopsy would later confirm that the killer cut off. It was known that David's store had no choice but to be shut down. Interscope suspended all promotions. Crooks and Hollister dropped it. The deluxe edition of his album was pulled before it could be released. Kali Uchis put out a statement, "He is not my friend." And basically all the celebrities he had worked with had publicly removed their collaborations and distanced themselves from him. Throughout all this BS, he became the most searched person on Google for 2025 for all of the wrong reasons. And with the sheer magnitude of evidence against him, it appeared that his life was about to go down in one of the most spectacular ruins we have ever seen. But then, this was the part of the story that was genuinely maddening. After everything we just discussed, the body in the trunk, the search warrant, and the mountains of evidence that even if he didn't kill her, he still had an inappropriate relationship with somebody underage. Despite all of this, there was still no action taken. David was walking around free, not arrested, and somehow he wasn't even listed as a suspect. People were shocked, confused, and they wanted answers. But we...
Whoa, what's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys,
weeks would pass, and then months, and nothing. Why didn't anything happen? And how come there are people who literally have gone to jail for far less? And so the...
Bro, like, dead ass, bro. You're a big man. You could have literally get anybody where you want. You literally could have get anybody where you want. And you tell me, say, you really go for your 11-year-old? My thing, bear with, as someone did I tell everybody, the viewers them a while ago, me I beg gonna bear with me because my YouTube premium up. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna hide nothing from you now. I'm not staying away now for renew it. Alright, so we're not gonna see the add them in the YouTube video them. Because we not have the premium for my YouTube right now. You know, so the premium not make you pay. No, you're not seeing no ad like the YouTube ad them. You're not seeing none because you pay for your feed premium. You watch a video right through without any ad. So As soon as I'm up again, I don't know what I'm going, but I just spared me and go on through.
Internet would become restless for a while,
Summer,
with
it's
December
bad.
passing, January,
Bad,
February,
bad.
March, but still no arrest. But it was on a fateful day in April 2026, almost 7 months after her body was initially found, that the unimaginable would go down.
Tonight in Los Angeles, the dramatic images, a well-known singer arrested in connection with the murder of a 14-year-old girl.
Just a few weeks ago, after 7 months of silence, the LA County Medical Examiner's Office made its official ruling. The cause of death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez had finally been determined. Multiple penetrating injuries from an unspecified sharp object. Manner of death, homicide. And so, with that officially out of the way, it was April 16, 2026 that the LAPD would move in to a street in the Hollywood Hills. A neighbor described the scene by saying it felt like 100 police officers. As they banged on the door telling him to surrender and come out, he was not budging. And so they used their ramming device and busted open that door. Once David was dragged out of his house, the famous clip was recorded of him being escorted by police. And it was in that moment that he was arrested on suspicion of murder and being held without bail. 4 days later, on April 20th, the LA County District Attorney would announce the formal charges against David.
Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke.
They were, and I quote, first-degree murder with special circumstances, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and mutilation of human remains. Which, by the way, special circumstances means certain factors in cases that will increase the punishment severely. For example, how most of us know that if you premeditate a murder versus if you randomly kill someone in a fight, one will maybe get you life in prison if it was impulsive, while the other one could literally get you the death penalty. But David, oh no, the special circumstances on this murder charge are not one, but three. And each one is more serious than the last. The first one is lying in wait, which is essentially premeditated murder. The second is murder for financial gain. And the third is the murder of a witness of a crime. Now, to some people, these might not make sense, so let me explain.
A special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. The financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night.
The story allegedly goes that Celeste was threatening to expose David for his actions. And because he wanted to prevent her from doing this, then he ended her to protect his financially lucrative career. And that ties into the final charge, which is the murder of a witness. Which is not actually saying that there was another person, well, that we know of anyway, but that Celeste was actually a witness to her own sexual abuse from David. They believe that Celeste arrived at David's Hollywood Hills home that night at his invitation. Perhaps he lured her there to talk about something or gave some other excuse for her to come over. But once she entered those doors, she was never seen again. And the craziest part of all this is that prosecutors believe the murder happened on April 23, 2025. But that date was just 2 days before his album was released, which meant that on that day, if you go on his page, he was literally posting TikToks like this. I mean, bro, this says April 23. This is what he... Bro, what? This nigga is twerking in his home while a body is probably around the corner. It's the same day. What are we looking at? And then he would just continue to post, promoting his album as if he didn't just do what he did. But you know what the next craziest part of this is? After he ended her life, her body was just there for a while. He could have very well gotten rid of it. I mean, that's literally what most killers do. And who knows if he would have even been caught if he did get rid of it. But for whatever sick, twisted reason, he kept it around. And a full 2 weeks later, on May 5th, is when they believed that the mutilation occurred, cutting off the personal finger with the tattoo and dismembering her as if she was some kind of object.
I have text messages he sent to the girls of dismembered, anime stuff, but it's dismemberment. He was into dismemberment. It's just
so he was sending the other minors he was talking to. He was sending dismembered animes to them.
It was these anime characters with their arms pulled off, and you could see they would show the dismembered arm, detached. It's just crazy sick stuff to consume this guy.
Yo,
this is his thing.
Ink
or whatever.
After this, David seemed basically dead to rights. There was a 0% chance he didn't do it, and the entire world thought that he was the worst human being to exist. But that was when he would do something that nobody expected. David appeared for his arraignment a week ago on April 20, shackled in an orange jumpsuit and looking like the criminal he is. But then, after the court was finished, news would break that he would plead not guilty to all of his charges. Yes, he is claiming that he is innocent, which makes you wonder why his legal team is so confident to even try something like that. Well, his attorney is Blair Burke, a high-profile defense lawyer who has previously represented Harvey Weinstein, Kanye West, and Britney Spears. But you know what?
Weinstein? Yo, if you don't know, as I'm telling you, I'm the type of person I love watch true crime stories. Harvey Weinstein, bro. I'm going to the backstory on that. Hold on there. Hold on the chart. Why? Oh my God. Hold on, chat. Alright, so basically it's saying that Harvey Weinstein, hold on. Harvey Weinstein is basically a sex offender. Him and in October 2017, following sexual abuse allegations dating back to the late 1970s, Weinstein was dismissed from his company and expelled from the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences. More than 80 women, more than 80 women made allegations of sexual harassment or rape against him by October 31st. The allegation sparked the hashtag #MeToo social media #MeToo to social media campaign, and Tiny is what relax, we soon talk to you. Campaign and subsequent sexual abuse allegations against many powerful figures worldwide. This phenomenon is referred to as the Weinstein effect. Me bombo clat. Wow, that's crazy. If you don't know about Weinstein, that is basically Harvey Weinstein. Them man they, yo, me I tell us, boy, tell you, Father God say I know, that's why me, if me for have a daughter, you know, me for have a daughter, I'm not gonna lie, me for have a daughter, I'm not gonna lie to you, I not really think, oh my God, I don't really know, I'm not really sure if I even want to have a daughter, or even kids overall, because it would have come like one time, when they know say, all right, then if you have a boy, the only thing you would have worry about is if him go pick up badness or if him go breed somebody girl, right? Because you know, so having a girl child, she more prone for get pregnant early or whatever. But right now, you don't even know what to think when it come on to having a boy picking right now. Because my grandmother used to say, the chance a boy have, a girl don't have it. So like how when me used to do over Portmore with her and all, 7, 8 o'clock come, me have to draw closer to the gate because she always a come out and a call me, Katie, come close, come down now. My boy cousin them out a road till I tell me 11 o'clock at night, I ramp and I ride up and down on bicycle in the scheme. While me have to well powder in my 90 and just stay behind the grill, so I watch everybody. Sometimes I used to ball, but that was how me grew up. Me personally, a girl child is more delicate. You know, say, why me don't even know if you say a blood clot. Right now, them pick me up. Yo.
Your email is your first online impression. Make it count. With
Oh man, I forgot to get back my YouTube premium. Them something embarrassing.
But no, you're probably thinking, who cares who his lawyer is? We all know he did it, but you have to understand how the legal system works. Even if we all know someone did it, if that lawyer can find a single loophole in the evidence, that can sometimes be enough to drop the case as a whole, or at the very least decrease the charges significantly. I mean, just because I went over that guy's house to kill him and he died, how do you know I actually did it? Did you see the knife in my hand? What if when I arrived he was already dead and one of his other enemies beat me to it? And best believe if they cannot prove that I was the one who did it, I am walking free. But in David's case, it should be different, right? I mean, he has an extensive profile of evidence around him, right? So in theory, that should mean he's cooked, right? But even that is not safe, because if you can prove some kind of faulty grounds for a case, such as unfair treatment by the legal system or tampering of evidence, the entire case can literally be thrown out. And so David's lawyer told the court that her client had received almost no discovery, which basically means that in a trial, the person being accused of something is obligated to receive the documents containing all the evidence that will be used against them. It's their legal right to obtain this, and the only way they can even prepare a defense in the first place. But David's lawyer was saying they still didn't even get an autopsy report. And when stuff like this happens, the judge can look at the prosecution and say, yo, y'all clearly not taking this seriously. Y'all clearly not prepared. So I'm just going to throw this case out and move on. So this is what she was trying to exploit. But then something happened that would make David have shivers in his spine and know that he truly was finished. Because the prosecution's response to that demand, they said they do in fact have the evidence. Don't worry, we have it, all 40 terabytes. Yep, they have 40 terabytes of evidence against David. Just to put that into perspective, that is 40,000 gigabytes. They needed time to gather all the evidence, and know that they did. I kid you not, it was within that 40 terabytes that we would finally learn the rest of the story. What happened that night? How did Celeste go? And exactly what kind of monster is David? Well, let's break it down. But I have to warn you, this gets insane.
After months of secrecy, prosecutors have just revealed brand new, never before seen, never before heard alleged details in the horrific killing and disposal of a child's body, a vicious stabbing, a grisly alleged dismemberment with a chainsaw.
April 22, 2025, the day.
Them little girl in a year nowadays. Mother would have said, man, you want, man, you shall blood clot get. I know it sounds very insensitive, but it's just the truth. Why them can't hear? Why you not hear, little girl? Why you not hear? Man, I got all yesterday, you know. Oh, what's the topic? The David and Celeste Hernandez case. The American artist there, the boy, they will kill a little girl, a 14-year-old girl, and put her in a back of him Tesla truck. While in the on tour, them find the body a stink up in the parking lot and open it and say the body didn't have a plastic bag. I can tell you. You know that the California eat there. All that the body they supposed to have bubble. God. I cover it on my TikTok, you know. I cover it on my TikTok because as I'm telling you, I love true crime stories. I grew up watching Monk, Law and Order, Without a Trace, Dead Zone. Remember the show? Where the man, when him touch you, him can see how you got dead. And then him try to help you before. And at the time when me did little, me never really understand. But me I say, bro, you don't fight the God hand. If a year time for go, it's your time for go. Majority of the time, it will help them Like if they know say you're dead tomorrow, him try if he dead if he not help you. But yeah, me know me just still over there while ago before me come over here, man. He will try to help you, but you still end up dead. If you forgot naturally, him can't help you. But if it was like an accident wherein somebody come in and step in at your time, he will try to help you. But majority of the time, him fail. Me used to love watch Touched by an Angel too. I used to love watch that show. I'll show you that again. Well, and dance and leave all him so come back. Touch by an Angel. You remember this? Come on. My mother used to love watching.
Walk down the road, heavy burden, heavy load. I will rise and I will walk with you. I'll walk with you till the sun don't even shine. Walk with you every time. I tell you I'll walk with you.
Oh, fuck God!
Believe me, I'll walk with you.
Oh, yo! That brings back so many memories a while ago. It coming like, I got on your money a while ago. Oh, my God. We used to love watch Touched by an Angel, my mother. And then after that, no, she will go by Yasso. I don't know if she have to watch her stories. She got to watch her stories. I have to watch her stories. Hold on then. Why this? Hold on. Hold on. Why this sound like the intro? The intro not sound familiar. The intro sound like one song. One hold on, come again. Let me hear it again. Majority of them songs what them I use now, they make music out of it nowadays, you know. Hold on. Listen how it sound. It sounds like one military blade song. No man, that's something that sound familiar, man. Hold on. Chat bear with me at some stage. Say me hear something up, me now stop to remember where me hear it from. Hold on. Remember, hold on. Mary J. Blige. Let me see if I eat. Hold on, chat. Chat, if I eat, una have to like and subscribe. I swear. Yo! Me know that song here from somewhere, brother.
Broken
same heart again. Another lesson learned. Better know your friends, or else you will get burned. Gotta count on me, cause I can guarantee that I'll be fine. No more pain. No more pain. No more pain. No more pain. No drama. No more drama in my life. No one's gonna make me hurt again. Yo, that was sick. Why'd I play the fool? Go through ups and downs, knowing all the just from a fucking song, I know the thing. No more pain, no more pain, no more pain. Used to love watch Bold and the Beautiful too. No drama in my life.
So I'm writing an essay on cats. Cats in art history. I'm an art history.
The day before the crime, David and Celeste had already been experiencing shaky grounds in their quote-unquote relationship because at some point before this, she had apparently gotten pregnant. The text messages also show conversations between them about an abortion. Now, while the full details of the pregnancy are still unknown for now, one thing that was clear was that Celeste had started...
Well, on the chat. No, just watch her. You come here to go through every day, on a daily. Danny, you good? You alright? You watch me? You good? Yeah? Say hi, chat. Hi, chat. Boy, I'm gonna tell them. Nah, leave me now. Nah. Summer, I'm not going to leave my side. That's tiny. Nah, left me. Nah, left me at all. Eh? And nah, left me at all, look boy. Until. Go to road and did a fight brown man this morning. Brown man run like 10 batty man. Brown man afraid of him, you know. Until. Relax. And now go to the door tonight. Relax yourself. Come in, chat. We want to finish up there.
To feel like she was not being treated properly. Sending David a message saying, hey, all we do is have sex and just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself. Now, we don't know exactly when that message was sent, but it could have been days or weeks before the story. But all we do know is that it was April 22 when everything hit the fan. Because this was the day that even after Celeste had been saying she wants to be treated better, she would find out that David had been dealing with other girls. And that would spark a massive argument. They texted back and forth aggressively. And that was when Celeste dropped the bomb and told David that because he was dealing with other girls, she was going to expose their relationship to the public and make him lose everything.
There was a big fight and they went back and forth with text messages. She was upset because he was seeing other girls and she was threatening in those text messages to disclose information about him that would get him in trouble and, quote, ruin his career.
No, at this point, David knew what was on the line, and so he convinced her to come over, perhaps telling her that the issue would be better discussed in person or maybe using another excuse. We don't actually know what he said, but the day after the argument, the 23rd, she would agree to come over and he would call her an Uber at 8:40 p.m. And that Uber driver would pick her up, having no idea that he was carrying her directly into harm's way. By 10:10, she arrived. And upon entering the home, we don't know what the conversation was like. We don't know if they continued arguing or tried to resolve the problem, or if David was simply waiting for her to just open the doors. But eventually, he would pull out his weapon and stab her multiple times. And the chilling information says that after stabbing her, he would watch her helplessly on the ground and wait patiently for her to bleed out. He had just done the unspeakable. But of course, he was fully aware of what he was doing, and so he would decide that he needed to cover his tracks. But even if he he could dispose of a body, he didn't have the tools. And so that's why he would decide, and I'm not kidding when I say this, to go on Amazon and buy literal chainsaws, a kiddie pool, and a literal incinerator that burns so hot it could dispose of human bones. Keep in mind that that's not even legal to have, but no worries, because to help cover his tracks some more, he would use the fake name of Victoria Mendez to order all of this equipment. And so one can only presume that this would explain the 2-week gap between the death and the mutilation. This meant that until his tools would get there, he would need to safely hide the body until he could properly dispose. But you see, I don't think he thought this through properly, because David was in a position where he always had people coming in and out of his house, whether that be his team, his friends, influencers, whatever the case may be. And a perfect example was this horrifying live stream clip that we can look back on now and know what was really going on.
ABC. Oh, yes, I apologize in advance for when my bathroom smelled. I took a shit in there like 2 hours ago.
I don't care. I just took a shit in there.
Another one? Type shit. That's what I'm talking about.
David's friends had complained about a smell that they smelled while being at his house. And if you read the reports that have been coming out over these past few months, they're not the only ones to say that. But he always gave an excuse, just like the one in this video where he says, oh, sorry guys, I just took a shit in there 2 hours ago. But as this person would
2 hours ago,
what kind of atomic shit would stink up a bathroom after 2 full hours?
Exactly.
It literally makes no sense.
Exactly.
However, it would not be enough to raise any suspicions. And so he was able to keep
2
concealing
hours
the body
ago
until May 5th, when again we can only assume that that's when he got his tools. After he would finally have everything he needed, the chainsaws, the kiddie pool, and the incinerator, he would take the kiddie pool into his garage, and I kid you not, I don't even know if I can say this on YouTube. He took Celeste, put her in the kiddie pool, and used the chainsaws to do what he did. Arguably one of the most gruesome things I have ever heard in my life. And so presumably this is where he would take the parts and use the incinerator to dispose of them. However, for whatever reason, which we can only assume is the tour, he never got the chance to do that. So what did he do instead? Well, unfortunately, this just came out last night. So as of right now, that's as far as the information goes. Why did she end up in the Tesla, and was anyone else involved? Well, we will be continuing to update you on the case as we find out more information. And so I would say to subscribe to the channel, but we actually made another channel just a while ago specifically for true crime. So if you want to go subscribe over there, one of the videos are linked on the screen right now that you can watch if you enjoy that type of content. Until then though, we hope that Celeste Rivas Hernandez gets the justice that she deserves, and that all families involved can find peace, as well as the other potential victims out there who have not come forward. Stay safe, and as always, this case has been decoded.
Yo, chat, listen. All I can say is, hold on. All I can say is, chat, a little girl here. I just hope, like, our family get justice and everything work out fair, because you know, say you have predator, like you literally have predators out here trying to look these kids is really fucked up. I'm just pray to God, say justice is being served and is going to be served, because it really fucked up to know that me have niece, I have nephew, I have little cousin, and I have little friend, neighbors from a road where watch me. I honestly wouldn't want to hear that reach to none of them. So I can say try to be safe, and I'm just be safe out there. All right, peace.